The storm that night was unlike anything Washington, D.C. had seen in months. Rain lashed against rooftops, rivers of water racing down sidewalks, thunder rolling through the sky as if the heavens themselves were restless. Through that chaos, a lone figure hurried across the slick streets, clutching a battered leather satchel to his chest. His name was Michael Grant, and within that satchel lay secrets so explosive they could rewrite American history. Michael ducked into a quiet side street, his trench coat heavy with rain. His breath came in short bursts, fogging the air in front of him. He checked behind him, scanning the shadows. He knew the government's reach was everywhere, that eyes he couldn't see were already watching him. But still, he pressed forward, his hand gripping the satchel as though it were the last fragile piece of truth left in the world. The cafe on the corner of M Street was barely lit, its neon sign flickering like a dying heartbeat. Michael pushed the door open, the bell above it chiming faintly. Inside, the place smelled of burnt coffee and damp wood. A waitress glanced at him but said nothing. He slipped into a booth at the back, his satchel placed carefully on the table. For a moment, he just stared at it, listening to the storm batter the windows. Then, with trembling hands, he opened it. The first document he pulled out was stamped Top Secret in bold red ink. It carried the name Victor Hale, a senator adored by millions. Hale's smile had graced magazine covers. His speeches were shared across social media as beacons of hope. But here, in cold typewritten reports, was a different Hale entirely. He was taking money from foreign intelligence services, selling access, betraying the very nation that cheered his name. Michael's stomach tightened as he read. Betrayal didn't always come with guns. Sometimes it wore the smile of a statesman. Michael flipped to the next file, and his blood ran cold. Judge Evelyn Carter. The public had mourned her sudden death. A stroke, the headlines had said. But here, in grim medical analysis, was the truth. A toxin slipped into her wine during a gala, ordered by a covert unit inside America's own intelligence network. She had been days away from exposing billion-dollar fraud in defense contracts. Instead, she was silenced, her legacy twisted into a narrative of tragic natural causes. Michael clenched his jaw. Even justice itself had been murdered. His hands shook as he unfolded the third file. Photographs spilled onto the table. Grainy surveillance images, wire transfers, and confidential memos. All linked back to Anton Volkov, the billionaire investor with an empire stretching from Wall Street to shadowy Eastern European fronts. His name was whispered in financial circles, but here was proof of his true power. Senators bought with his money, policy shaped by his influence, journalists assassinated when they dug too deep. Michael stared at the faces in those photos, reporters who died in accidents. Their eyes seemed to plead with him from the page. Don't let them erase us. Another folder slid free. Its cover read Operation Scorpion. Michael's breath caught. He had heard rumors in hushed corridors, whispers of missions buried so deep they weren't even acknowledged within the agency. This file confirmed it. An entire foreign government destabilized, its leader assassinated, not for national security, but for control of oil reserves. American hands had pulled the trigger, but the motive had been greed, and the signatures authorizing it belonged to names Michael recognized. Men and women still appearing on primetime television, smiling, speaking of freedom and democracy. His pulse quickened. The satchel felt heavier with every page he turned. These weren't just documents. They were proof of rot, a cancer eating away at the core of the nation. He reached for the last folder, but before he could open it, the cafe door swung wide. The bell chimed again, louder this time. A tall man stepped inside, shaking rain from his coat. He scanned the room with eyes like steel. Michael froze. Daniel Mercer. The name alone sent chills through anyone in the intelligence world. Mercer wasn't just another operative. He was the operative, the mastermind who tied up loose ends, the architect of silence. If Mercer was here, it meant Michael's time was almost up. Mercer's gaze locked on him. A slow, deliberate smile curved across his lips as he approached the booth. Michael shoved the files back into the satchel, his mind racing. He couldn't run. Not yet. Not here. Evening, Mercer said smoothly, sliding into the booth across from him. His voice carried the calm menace of a predator who already knew the outcome of the hunt. Long night to be out reading bedtime stories. Michael swallowed hard. These aren't stories. They're truths. His voice wavered, but he forced the words out. Mercer leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. Truth is a dangerous thing. You spill those files into the world, you don't just expose corruption. You unravel the very system holding this country together. Do you really want to be the man who lights that fire? Lightning flashed outside, casting Mercer's angular face in sharp relief. Michael could see the faint scar running along his jaw, the calm certainty in his gaze. Mercer wasn't bluffing. He believed what he said, that secrets, no matter how dark, were better left buried. But Michael's hands tightened around the satchel. Better a fire than a lie. Mercer's smile faded. His hand drifted beneath his coat. Michael knew the gesture well. A gun rested there, inches from being drawn. The air between them grew heavier, silence stretching like a taut wire ready to snap. Then Michael made his move. He bolted from the booth, clutching the satchel, and dashed toward the door. Chairs scraped, the waitress screamed. The bell above the cafe door jingled wildly as he burst into the storm. The rain was a wall, blinding him as headlights swung around the corner. Two black SUVs screeched to a stop, their doors flinging open. Men in tactical gear spilled out, weapons gleaming under the streetlights. Michael's heart pounded as he sprinted down an alley, the satchel slamming against his side. His shoes splashed through puddles, water soaking his legs. He darted into a narrow passage, hauling himself up a rusted fire escape. Behind him, footsteps thundered. Voices shouted. The shadows were closing in. From the rooftop, the city stretched before him. Monuments glowing in the distance, symbols of liberty standing tall while rot spread beneath their foundations. He dropped to his knees, fumbling with the satchel. From inside, he pulled a small laptop and a flash drive. His fingers trembled as he plugged it in. The files began uploading to a secure server. The progress bar crawled forward. 18%, 24%, 39%. Then Mercer's voice cut through the storm. Michael. Michael's head snapped up. Mercer stood at the rooftop's edge, rain plastering his suit to his body. His expression calm as ever. He didn't raise his gun yet. He simply stepped closer. Do you think truth saves people? He asked, his voice carrying over the thunder. It destroys them. It unravels the world they cling to. Michael shouted back, his throat raw. The world's already unraveling. I won't be part of the silence anymore. The upload ticked upward. 57%. 68%. Michael's hand shook violently, blood from his grazed arm dripping onto the keyboard. Mercer drew his pistol. The black steel gleamed under the lightning. I don't want to do this, he said almost softly. But I will. A gunshot split the air. Pain ripped through Michael's shoulder, sending him sprawling. His laptop skidded across the rooftop, the progress bar freezing at 77%. He gasped, clutching the wound, forcing himself to crawl forward. His blood smeared the keys as he dragged himself toward the laptop. Mercer advanced slowly, each step measured. You'll be forgotten, he said, raising the pistol. A ghost. Buried. But headlights suddenly cut across the rooftop. A van screeched to a halt at the street below. The side door slid open. Reporters and cameramen poured out, their cameras already rolling. Michael's anonymous tip had worked. He had bought himself one chance. Mercer's mask cracked. For the first time, his composure wavered. He couldn't shoot Michael. Not now, not in front of the lenses beaming live across the internet. He lowered his weapon, melting back into the shadows. Michael, bleeding and trembling, pressed the final key. Send. The files launched across encrypted networks, exploding into the hands of journalists around the world. Within minutes, screens in newsrooms lit up, headlines forming. Classified documents leak. Political assassinations, espionage, corruption at highest levels. Michael collapsed, the rain mingling with his blood. His vision blurred, but he smiled. He had done it. The truth was free. The next morning, America woke to chaos. Every news station broadcast the leaks. Anchor voices shook with disbelief as they detailed assassinations of judges, espionage against allies, billion-dollar bribes, and operations that toppled foreign governments. Names once untouchable now trended alongside words like traitor and murderer. In living rooms across the country, citizens sat stunned. Some wept, others raged. Protests erupted within hours. Thousands flooding the streets of Washington, New York, Los Angeles. Chants echoed against marble walls. "We want justice." Inside the White House, panic reigned. Advisors scrambled, phones rang non-stop, statements were drafted and torn apart. The president himself appeared on camera that evening, his face drawn, his words hollow. "These allegations are under investigation." But the people no longer believed. Victor Hale, once celebrated as a hero, was seen slipping into a private jet under heavy security. Evelyn Carter's name was revived as a martyr for justice. Anton Volkov's empire began to crumble under public fury. His assets frozen, his allies abandoning him. The shadow world was being dragged into the light. And somewhere, hidden from sight, Daniel Mercer watched the chaos unfold. His expression was unreadable. His eyes fixed on a television screen glowing in a darkened room. For the first time, the master of silence had been outmaneuvered. Yet in the shadows of his mind, he whispered, "This isn't over." As for Michael Grant, his body was found days later in a hospital bed. Official reports claimed he succumbed to injuries sustained while fleeing. But in the streets, his name was shouted as a symbol. Murals of his face appeared on walls. Online, he was hailed as the man who tore open the veil of secrecy. The files remained, forever etched into history as the secret they never wanted you to see. And though the nation trembled on the edge of collapse, one truth burned brighter than ever. Secrets could kill, but sometimes secrets could also set a nation free. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends so they can enjoy it too.